Have you ever wondered why some women leave an unshakable mark on a man's mind, making him crave their presence even when they're gone? It's not about playing games, ignoring texts, or pretending to be busy. It's about mastering the kind of presence that lingers long after you walk away. The truth is, men don't miss women who chase them. They miss women who captivate them, women who have something magnetic, something different. Yet, too many women fall into the trap of over-giving, over-explaining, and over-pursuing, believing it will bring them closer. But in reality, it only makes them forgettable. So what if you could flip the script? What if, instead of seeking his attention, you made him crave yours? Instead of constantly reassuring him, you became the woman he couldn't stop thinking about. That's exactly what we're diving into today. By mastering these 10 powerful skills, you will create a presence so undeniable that when you're not around, he won't just notice, he'll feel it. This isn't about manipulation, it's about transformation. It's about stepping into your power, elevating your confidence, and becoming the kind of woman that men admire, respect, and most importantly, miss. Are you ready to unlock the secrets of true attraction? Because once you do, you'll never look at relationships the same way again. Let's begin. 1. The art of disappearing gracefully. There is a kind of magic in distance, a silent power in stepping back. Yet most women fear it. They believe that if they aren't constantly present, checking in, initiating conversations, and keeping the connection alive, a man will forget about them. But the reality is far more intriguing. True desire is not created through constant presence, but through the careful and deliberate absence that makes a man feel what he stands to lose. Disappearing gracefully isn't about punishing him or playing mind games. It's about knowing when and how to step back in a way that makes your absence undeniable. It's about creating space, not just for him to miss you, but for you to rediscover yourself in the process. Think of it like this. When something is constantly available, its value diminishes. A song played on repeat eventually loses its charm. A fragrance that lingers too long in the air becomes unnoticeable. The same principle applies to attraction. If you are always there, responding instantly, dropping everything to accommodate him, he never gets the chance to miss you. He never has the space to wonder where you are, what you're doing, or if he still holds your attention. And when a man never wonders, he never chases. But disappearing gracefully isn't about cutting off contact dramatically or creating unnecessary drama. The most powerful kind of absence is the one that happens naturally, without a single word of explanation. If you're always the one initiating plans, stop. If you're always responding immediately, slow down. If you find yourself rearranging your schedule to fit his last-minute invitations, start prioritizing yourself instead. Not in an angry or resentful way, but in a way that signals confidence, self-worth, and a life that doesn't revolve around him. When you gradually withdraw, without warning, without resentment, and without the need to explain, it does something to a man's mind. It plants a seed of curiosity, a subtle but powerful shift that makes him notice the change before he even understands it. The key to making your absence felt is to fill your own life with richness. If your world has revolved around him, it's time to shift that focus. Find passions that ignite your soul. Spend time with people who uplift you. Engage in activities that make you feel alive. Because when you do, you not only become more attractive, you become someone he can lose. A woman who has built a fulfilling life on her own terms radiates an energy that is irresistible, and the moment he realizes that your happiness doesn't depend on him, he will crave to be a part of it again. But let's go deeper. What happens inside a man when you step back? When you suddenly stop reaching out? When your presence, once a given, becomes something he has to seek. The human mind is wired to desire what is uncertain, to place higher value on what it fears losing. This is why luxury brands limit their availability, why the most sought-after people in the world seem just slightly out of reach. Scarcity creates desire. And when you are no longer always there, when your attention is no longer a guarantee, something shifts in his perception of you. He starts to wonder. He starts to feel a subtle but undeniable void. It might not hit him immediately, but over time he will notice the moments that once felt effortless. Your laughter, your touch, the way you made him feel. He'll start replaying them in his mind, and suddenly he'll realize he wants them back. But disappearing gracefully also requires emotional discipline. The urge to reach out, to fill the silence, to seek reassurance can be overwhelming. Your mind will whisper doubts. What if he forgets me? What if he moves on? But here's the truth. If a man is truly interested, he will notice your absence. And if he doesn't, that tells you everything you need to know. A man who values you will feel the space you create. He will sense the shift. And if he truly cares, he will lean in. If he doesn't, then you've just saved yourself from investing in someone who was never fully invested in you. Either way, you win. Another crucial part of disappearing gracefully is resisting the urge to announce your departure. Many women make the mistake of saying, "I need space," or "I'm focusing on myself right now," expecting it to trigger a reaction. But the most powerful kind of absence is the one that happens without warning, a slow, effortless withdrawal where one day he simply realizes you're not there like you used to be. This is what makes him wonder. This is what makes him miss you. Because nothing is more intriguing than a change that is felt rather than explained. Social media also plays a role in this. If you're constantly posting updates about how amazing your life is without him, it doesn't create mystery. It reveals insecurity. True confidence is found in letting go gracefully without needing to prove anything. Live your life, enjoy your moments, and let the natural energy of your happiness speak louder than any carefully curated Instagram post. When you genuinely immerse yourself in your own life, it won't be long before he starts to wonder why he's no longer a part of it. And here's the most beautiful part of disappearing gracefully. It's not just about him, it's about you. It's about reclaiming your time, your energy, and your sense of self. Because the moment you stop seeking validation outside of yourself, the moment you become content with your own company, you become the kind of woman a man never forgets. Not because you played games, but because you embodied something rare. A woman who doesn't chase, but attracts effortlessly. So take a moment and ask yourself, when was the last time I truly disappeared? Not out of anger, not out of manipulation, but as an act of self-love. When was the last time you allowed someone to miss you? Because here's the truth. Absence is not just noticed, it is felt. And when you disappear gracefully, not only does he start to crave you, but you step into the most powerful version of yourself. And that, my love, is the beginning of true attraction. 2. Mastering emotional independence. There's nothing more magnetic than a woman who is happy, confident, and fulfilled on her own. A woman who enjoys a man's company but does not need it. A woman who can love deeply without losing herself. This is the essence of emotional independence, and it's one of the most powerful ways to make a man feel your absence when you're not around. Too often, women unconsciously tie their emotions to a man's attention. Have you ever caught yourself waiting for his text to determine how you feel? Have you ever felt your mood shift depending on whether he's responsive or distant? If so, you're not alone. Many women believe that by being more available, more accommodating, more giving, they will be valued more in return. But that's not how desire works. The moment a man senses that your happiness revolves around him, he stops feeling the urgency to earn you. So how do you shift this dynamic? How do you become a woman who is so secure in herself that a man instinctively feels your absence when you're not around? It starts with reclaiming your energy. Instead of pouring all your emotional investment into him, redirect that energy back to yourself. Fill your own emotional cup so that his presence becomes a bonus, not a necessity. When a man senses that your joy, confidence, and sense of fulfillment come from within, he sees you as different. He recognizes that being with you is a privilege, not a duty. Think about the most alluring women you've ever met, the ones who effortlessly draw people in. They all have one thing in common. They radiate a kind of unshakable presence. They don't beg for attention because they don't need to. Their happiness is self-generated, and because of that, people, including men, want to be around them. This is Stoic love in action, the art of maintaining emotional balance and inner strength, no matter what happens externally. When you embody this, a man can't help but notice, and when you're not there, he feels the void of your energy missing. But emotional independence doesn't mean closing yourself off or pretending not to care. It means creating a life so full and vibrant that no single person has the power to make or break your happiness. What excites you outside of him? What dreams have you set aside in the name of love? Now is the time to reclaim them, whether it's a passion project, a new skill, or simply enjoying your own company. The more you invest in yourself, the more naturally magnetic you become. And the irony is, the less emotionally dependent you are on him, the more he craves your presence. Here's something fascinating about human psychology. When someone is always available, they blend into the background. But when someone is occasionally unavailable, they become intriguing. It triggers a man's natural instinct to chase. He starts to wonder where you are, what you're doing, and why you're not constantly seeking his attention. And in that wondering, he starts to miss you. But this only works if your emotional independence is genuine. If you're pretending to be busy while secretly obsessing over him, he will sense the insecurity beneath the surface. True independence is cultivated, not faked. One of the most powerful shifts you can make is to stop letting his behavior dictate your emotions. If he takes longer than usual to reply, does that ruin your day? If he seems distant, do you spiral into anxiety? If so, you're giving him control over your emotions. But imagine a different scenario. Imagine being so grounded in your own joy and self-worth that no matter how he behaves, your energy remains unshaken. That is stoicism in love, and that is the kind of emotional mastery that makes a woman unforgettable. Another key aspect of emotional independence is having strong personal boundaries. If he cancels plans last minute, do you accept it without question? If he only reaches out when it's convenient for him, do you allow it? Every time you say yes to something that disrespects your time, you teach him that your presence is guaranteed. But when you honor your own needs and set clear boundaries, you shift the dynamic. You show him that your time is valuable, and suddenly he values it more. The moment he realizes that you are not waiting around for him, his entire perception of you changes. He sees you as a woman who is whole, a woman who is not easily swayed by emotions, a woman who has the kind of depth that is rare. And that rarity is what makes him crave you, even in your absence. If this resonates with you, if you've ever felt the weight of tying your happiness to a man, and you're ready to reclaim your power, like this video and drop a number 1 in the comments below. If you want more deep, transformative insights into attraction, confidence, and the power of Stoic love, make sure to subscribe, because trust me, this journey is just getting started. 3. Confidence. your most magnetic trait. Confidence is intoxicating. It's the one thing that makes a woman unforgettable, the invisible force that commands attention without a single word. A confident woman walks into a room, and without even trying, people notice. She doesn't demand attention, she attracts it. And when it comes to making a man feel your absence, confidence is everything. The more self-assured you are, the more he will sense your value, and the more he will miss you when you're gone. But here's where most women go wrong. They mistake external validation for confidence. They believe that if a man desires them, their confidence will naturally rise, that if he compliments them, their self-worth will solidify, that if he chooses them, they are enough. But true confidence doesn't come from being wanted. It comes from knowing your worth, regardless of who acknowledges it. And when you master this, you don't just become attractive, you become unforgettable. A man can feel when a woman is secure in herself. It's in the way she speaks, in the way she carries herself, in the way she doesn't seek constant reassurance. And it's in that security that his desire is activated, because men don't just admire confidence, they crave it. A woman who believes in herself doesn't need to convince anyone else of her value, she simply is. And when you embody that kind of energy, your absence is felt in a way that lingers long after you've left the room. But let's be real, confidence isn't something you just wake up with one day. It's built layer by layer through the choices you make every single day. It starts with how you talk to yourself. Do you criticize your flaws or embrace your uniqueness? Do you shrink yourself in conversations, or do you speak with certainty? Do you apologize for taking up space, or do you own your presence? Because confidence isn't about perfection, it's about self-acceptance. The moment you stop doubting your worth is the moment others start seeing it too. Your posture, your voice, your body language, these small subconscious signals tell the world and the man in your life exactly how you feel about yourself. Stand tall, maintain eye contact, walk with purpose, speak with clarity. These subtle shifts create an aura of certainty that is impossible to ignore. And when you're gone, that presence, the way you made him feel when you were near, becomes something he misses. Because confidence isn't just attractive, it's memorable. Another sign of deep confidence is emotional control. A confident woman doesn't react impulsively to every shift in a man's behavior. She doesn't panic when he pulls away. She doesn't chase when he becomes distant. Instead, she remains grounded, knowing that her worth isn't dependent on his attention. She understands stoicism in love, the art of maintaining emotional stability no matter what happens. And that emotional resilience makes her even more desirable. Because when you are unshaken, when you don't need constant reassurance, you become a mystery, a woman a man wants to figure out, rather than one who is easily predictable. But confidence isn't just about how you present yourself, it's also about how you prioritize yourself. Do you put your needs first, or do you bend to accommodate his? Do you have your own passions, or do you lose yourself in his world? A truly confident woman doesn't abandon her identity in a relationship. She doesn't become smaller to fit someone else's expectations. She remains whole, independent, and fully herself. And that is why a man will always feel her absence, because she is irreplaceable. Men are drawn to women who have something going on beyond them, who have goals, ambitions, dreams that extend far beyond a relationship. When you invest in yourself, whether it's learning something new, chasing a career, or even just developing a strong sense of self, you naturally exude confidence. And that confidence sends a powerful message. I am not waiting for you to define my happiness. And trust me, nothing makes a man feel your absence more than realizing you are completely whole without him. But let's talk about the biggest mistake women make that destroys their confidence: over-apologizing. Do you find yourself saying sorry when there's nothing to apologize for? Do you diminish your own accomplishments to make others comfortable? Do you downplay your strength so you don't seem too much? Stop. Confident women own their space. They don't shrink themselves for the comfort of others. They know that being powerful doesn't mean being unkind. It means being unapologetically themselves. And when a woman has that level of certainty in herself, men notice. More importantly, they feel it when she's gone, because she is the kind of woman who isn't easily replaced. She's the kind of woman whose presence is electric, whose energy is undeniable, whose absence creates a void that no one else can fill. So if you want a man to feel your absence deeply, start with this. Cultivate unshakable confidence. Walk through life like you are meant to take up space. Speak with the certainty that you belong. Pursue the things that set your soul on fire. Love yourself in a way that makes it impossible for anyone to forget you. Because when you become the kind of woman who owns her presence, you automatically become the kind of woman who is missed the moment she's gone. Fourth, strategic communication. Less is more. Have you ever felt the urge to respond to his texts immediately, thinking that a fast reply will keep his interest alive? Or maybe you found yourself sending a second message when he didn't respond fast enough, fearing that he might be losing interest. If so, you're not alone. Many women make the mistake of thinking that constant communication is the key to keeping a man engaged. But the reality is, the more predictable you are, the less intriguing you become. Strategic communication is the art of creating desire through absence, of making a man think about you when you're not there. It's about understanding that in attraction, sometimes what you don't say is more powerful than what you do. And when you master this, you'll see an immediate shift in the way men respond to you. Let's start with one fundamental truth. Less is more. Think of communication like fire. If you constantly fan the flames, they can burn out too fast. But if you give it space, let the oxygen in, and allow it to breathe, the fire grows stronger. The same principle applies to attraction. If you're always available, always responding, always the one keeping the conversation alive, you don't give him the chance to miss you. But when you pull back just enough to create intrigue, he starts to wonder. And that wonder turns into curiosity, which turns into desire. One of the easiest ways to apply strategic communication is by not always responding instantly. This doesn't mean you need to play games or intentionally ignore him. It means shifting your focus back onto you. The next time he texts you, pause. Instead of dropping everything to reply, finish what you're doing first. Let the message sit. When you eventually respond, it won't be out of neediness. It will be on your terms. And trust me, men notice this. When you stop making him the center of your world, he starts feeling the shift. But timing isn't the only thing that matters. It's also about what you say. Are your messages predictable? Do they follow the same patterns, or do they leave an impression? Instead of asking, "How was your day?" try asking, "What's the most exciting thing that happened to you today?" Instead of saying, "Good night," try, "Dream about something amazing tonight. You deserve it." These subtle shifts make a huge difference because they add depth to your conversations. They make your words stand out in his mind. Another key to strategic communication is the power of silence. Most women fear silence in communication. They think that if he doesn't text back right away, it means something is wrong, and out of panic, they send another message, only to regret it later. But here's the secret. Silence creates space, and in that space, a man starts to feel your absence. If you've always been the one to initiate, try pulling back. Let him reach out first. Let him be the one to close the gap. At first, it might feel uncomfortable, but if he's interested, he will notice and he will come toward you. When he does, the dynamic of the relationship will shift. But strategic communication isn't just about when you talk or what you say. It's also about the energy behind your words. A woman who is emotionally independent and confident in herself speaks in a way that naturally draws people in. She doesn't text out of anxiety. She texts out of desire. She doesn't over-explain. She lets her words hold weight. She doesn't seek validation through conversations. She creates conversations that make men crave her presence. This is Stoic love in action, the ability to communicate from a place of calm confidence rather than emotional desperation. When you embrace stoicism in your communication, you show a man that you are not reactive, that you do not need constant attention to feel secure. And that kind of emotional balance is rare. It makes a man respect and desire you even more. But let's talk about a common fear. What if he doesn't respond? What if he pulls away when I create space? The answer: trust yourself. If he is truly interested, he will notice the change and he will step up. And if he doesn't, then he was never truly invested to begin with. And that's valuable information to have. Strategic communication helps you filter out the men who are genuinely into you from the ones who are only there out of convenience. This also applies to in-person interactions. The way you speak, the tone of your voice, and the way you listen, all these are forms of communication that influence attraction. Do you talk too much out of nervousness? Do you fill every silence because you fear awkward moments? If so, start practicing restraint. Hold back just a little. Let your pauses create anticipation. Let your presence be felt, not just through your words, but through your energy. When you apply strategic communication, you're not just making a man miss you, you're shifting the entire dynamic of how he sees you. Suddenly, you become more intriguing, more valuable, more unforgettable. And this is when you'll notice something powerful. He starts investing more. He starts trying harder because he feels the difference. If you've ever found yourself texting too much, giving too much, or feeling like you have to keep the conversation alive, then it's time to step into your power. Like this video and drop a #1 in the comments if you're ready to master the art of strategic communication. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now, because we are just getting started. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. 5. Being irreplaceable through unique value. There is a distinct difference between a woman who is enjoyable and a woman who is irreplaceable. Many women can capture a man's interest for a short time, holding his attention with beauty, charm, or chemistry. But very few women leave a lasting impact that lingers in his thoughts long after she's gone. Being irreplaceable isn't about simply making a man miss you. It's about making him realize that losing you is a mistake he can't afford to make. It's about setting a standard so high that even if he tries to move on, something always feels off, because no one quite compares to what he had with you. But what does it really mean to be irreplaceable? It's not about looking a certain way, having the perfect personality, or playing mind games. It's about bringing something to his life that no one else can offer in the same way. It's about cultivating a presence, an energy, and an experience that is entirely unique to you. When you truly understand this, you stop worrying about competition, whether he'll lose interest or whether you're enough. Because the truth is, men don't forget the women who bring them something they can't find elsewhere. The first element of being irreplaceable is emotional depth. Most people operate on a surface level: casual conversations, repetitive routines, predictable emotional responses. But a woman who can break through that surface and touch a man's soul is unforgettable. This doesn't mean being overly emotional or overwhelming him with deep discussions at every turn. It means being aware of his deeper needs, recognizing the emotions he doesn't even express, and understanding his desires in a way others don't. It's about creating moments that feel real, raw, and intimate. not just physically, but emotionally. When a man experiences that kind of depth with you, it becomes the standard against which he compares every other relationship. Another key factor is building an irresistible lifestyle. There's nothing more captivating than a woman who is deeply in love with her own life. A woman who radiates joy, passion, and purpose without needing a man to fill the gaps. When a man sees that you are already thriving, already fulfilled, already whole, he begins to feel your absence in a way that is undeniable. Suddenly, he realizes that your life is happening with or without him, and if he's not careful, he might just get left behind. This is the power of an irresistible lifestyle. It's about creating a life so rich and fulfilling that people, including him, naturally want to be a part of it. The secret? It's not about trying to impress anyone. It's about truly living. Too often, women fall into the trap of making a relationship the center of their world. They put their dreams on hold, let friendships fade, and start organizing their entire schedule around a man. But here's the hard truth. A man will never miss what he believes he already has unlimited access to. If he knows that your time, attention, and energy will always revolve around him, he has no reason to crave it. But when he sees that you have a life, one filled with adventure, ambition, and purpose, his perception of you changes. Think about the most magnetic people you know. What makes them so intriguing? It's not just their looks or charm, it's their energy. They have stories to tell, goals they're chasing, and passions that light them up. They walk into a room, and you can feel that they are engaged with life, and that engagement is contagious. When you build a life that excites you, it naturally excites those around you, including him. But let's get real. How do you actually build an irresistible lifestyle? It starts with rediscovering yourself. What are the things you've always wanted to do but never made time for? What hobbies, skills, or experiences have been sitting on the back burner while you prioritized relationships? Maybe it's learning a new language, traveling to a place you've always dreamed of, starting a passion project, or even something as simple as reading books that expand your mind. Whatever it is, now is the time to invest in yourself. Because the more you grow, the more you create a life that you love, and the more naturally magnetic you become. But an irresistible lifestyle isn't just about personal goals. It's also about connection. Who do you surround yourself with? Are you cultivating deep, meaningful friendships? Are you spending time with people who uplift and inspire you? Men notice this. When they see you being loved and celebrated by others, it changes the way they perceive you. It triggers something called social proof. The idea that if other people value you, they should too. And when he sees you thriving in a social setting, effortlessly enjoying your life, he feels the difference when you're not around. Another key element of an irresistible lifestyle is independence. A woman who can navigate the world on her own terms, who doesn't need someone to complete her but instead chooses people who add to her already fulfilling life, is unforgettable. She doesn't text a man all day because she's too busy living. She doesn't cancel plans just to be available for him. She doesn't need to post online about how much fun she's having just to prove a point. She simply enjoys her life for herself, and that energy is rare. It's powerful. It's what makes men chase. But let's talk about something even deeper: the emotional impact of an irresistible lifestyle. When you are genuinely fulfilled, when you are living with purpose, you don't need validation from a man. You don't anxiously wait for his messages. You don't overanalyze his behavior. You don't shrink yourself to fit into his world. Instead, you become the world he wants to be a part of. Men are drawn to energy, passion, and depth. They are captivated by a woman who has something bigger than them driving her. When you embody that, your absence is not just noticed, it's felt. Now let's address a common fear: What if I focus on my own life and he moves on? The truth is, if a man loses interest simply because you're prioritizing yourself, then he was never truly invested to begin with. A man who values you will admire your independence. He will respect the way you carry yourself, the way you don't need to cling to keep his attention. And if he doesn't, then he was never the right man for you, because a real man doesn't want a woman who depends on him for her happiness. He wants a woman whose happiness inspires him. But building an irresistible lifestyle isn't about playing a role. It's about becoming the kind of woman who naturally attracts, rather than chases. It's about falling in love with your own life first. Because when you do, the right people, including him, will be drawn to you. And when you're not around, he will feel it. Not because you made him miss you, but because your presence adds something so valuable that your absence creates a void. And that, my love, is how you become unforgettable. 6. Social circle charm. The power of social proof. Have you ever noticed how some people walk into a room and instantly draw attention, not just from men, but from everyone? There's an undeniable energy that surrounds them, an effortless magnetism that makes them stand out. More often than not, these people are surrounded by others who admire, respect, and celebrate them. This is the power of social proof, and it plays a crucial role in making a man feel your absence on a deep level. Men are highly influenced by the way others perceive you. It's human psychology. When we see someone being valued and adored by their peers, we instinctively assume that they must be special, and in relationships, this effect is even stronger. When a man sees that you are surrounded by people who genuinely love your presence, it shifts the way he sees you. It makes him realize that you're not just someone he enjoys, you are someone who is valued by many. The more he sees others appreciating you, the more he will fear losing you. Think about it. What kind of woman is more desirable? The one who is isolated, always waiting for his call, making him the center of her world? Or the one who is effortlessly engaged in her life, surrounded by a vibrant social circle, laughing, connecting, and living? The answer is obvious. A woman who is socially fulfilled is infinitely more attractive because her world does not revolve around him, and that makes him want to be a part of it even more. So, how do you cultivate this kind of social charm? It starts with nurturing your existing relationships. Too often, women make the mistake of letting friendships fade when they enter a relationship. They cancel plans, deprioritize their social lives, and unknowingly make themselves too available. But the moment you do this, you start losing a vital part of your attraction. Nothing makes a man take you for granted faster than knowing that you are always there, with no competing priorities. But when he sees that you have people who adore you, people who value your time and presence, something shifts in his mind. He realizes that you're not waiting around for him, and suddenly your absence matters more than he expected. But this isn't just about keeping old friendships. It's also about expanding your social circle. When was the last time you met someone new, engaged in a fresh conversation, or created new experiences with new people? Social energy is contagious. When you step into environments where you're meeting and connecting with others, you develop an aura of intrigue. You become the woman who is always in motion, always evolving, always engaging with life. Trust me, a man will feel the difference. Another powerful way to harness social proof is to let him see you being admired by others. When a man witnesses other people enjoying your presence, when he sees you laughing effortlessly in a group, or notices other men respecting and admiring you, it triggers something primal in him. It reminds him that you are valuable, that others recognize your worth, and that he's not the only one who sees your magic. And that realization makes him crave you even more. But let's go even deeper. How does this affect his emotions when you're not around? Imagine this. He sees you at an event, surrounded by people who are drawn to your energy. He notices how effortlessly you connect, how people light up when they're around you. Then, later, when you're not there, he starts feeling the absence. He wonders, who is she with now? Who is making her laugh? Does she even think about me when she's surrounded by so many people who adore her? This is the kind of emotional impact that lingers. This is what makes him miss you. But here's the most important part. Your social circle shouldn't just be about making a man desire you. It should be about fulfilling you. Are you spending time with people who uplift you? Are you cultivating relationships that bring you joy? When you surround yourself with the right energy, you naturally become more confident, more vibrant, and more magnetic. And the best part, when you genuinely love the life you're living, it radiates from within. You won't have to try to make a man feel your absence. He will naturally feel it because you are someone who is unforgettable. Now let's address a common fear. What if he doesn't seem to notice? What if he doesn't seem affected by the fact that you're thriving in your social life? The truth is, if a man doesn't notice, then he wasn't truly invested in the first place. And that's valuable information, because a man who truly values you will recognize the difference. He will feel the shift when he realizes that he is no longer the center of your world. And when that happens, he will start missing you. Because men don't miss women who chase them. They miss women who are chased by life itself. So if you're ready to step into your power and cultivate a social life that makes you happy while making you infinitely 7. Understanding his emotional triggers. If you want a man to feel your absence deeply, you need to understand something fundamental. Men, just like women, are driven by emotions, even if they don't always show it. Attraction isn't just about physical chemistry, it's about the emotions you trigger within him, the way you make him feel when he's with you, and more importantly, the way he misses that feeling when you're not around. That's what determines how deeply he longs for you. Most women focus on what they do for a man, how much they care, how much they give, and how much effort they put into the relationship. But the truth is, a man doesn't miss a woman because of what she does for him. He misses her because of how he feels in her presence and the emotional void left behind when she's gone. If you want to make him crave your presence, you need to tap into his emotional triggers, the deep-seated desires and needs that, when fulfilled, create a bond he can't shake. One of the most powerful emotional triggers for men is feeling admired and respected. Men crave admiration the way women crave deep emotional connection. A man doesn't just want to be liked, he wants to feel valued. He wants to feel like the man in your eyes, like he has a purpose in your life. When you genuinely acknowledge his strengths, celebrate his victories, and express admiration for the things he takes pride in, you create an emotional bond that's hard to replace. And when you step away, he feels the loss of that validation. But this doesn't mean overpraising him or constantly boosting his ego. The most impactful admiration is subtle and specific. Instead of giving generic compliments, highlight the things that set him apart. If he's ambitious, acknowledge his work ethic. If he's protective, let him know you feel safe with him. If he's intelligent, tell him you love the way he thinks. This kind of admiration makes a man feel seen, and once a man feels seen, your absence will leave a noticeable gap. Another emotional trigger is challenge. Men are wired to pursue, to solve problems, to feel like they're earning something valuable. When a woman is too available, too easy to predict, or too eager to accommodate, it removes the sense of challenge. Without that challenge, a man's emotional engagement fades. But when a woman maintains a sense of independence, when she has strong boundaries, when she isn't afraid to say no or express what she truly wants, she creates a sense of depth and intrigue. She becomes someone worth earning, and that makes a man value her presence and feel her absence. But let's go even deeper. One of the most powerful emotional triggers is nostalgia. When you create unique emotionally charged experiences with a man, those moments become embedded in his memory. Maybe it's the way you laughed with him on a random Tuesday night. Maybe it's the way you playfully challenged him on something he thought he knew everything about. Maybe it's a scent you wear, a song that reminds him of you, or the way you touched his arm when you were both deep in conversation. These little moments may not seem big at the time, but they stick, and when you're no longer around, they replay in his mind, creating an emotional pull that is impossible to ignore. Then, there's the trigger of uncertainty and curiosity. This is one of the reasons why mystery is so powerful in attraction. When a man knows everything about you, when he feels like he has all of you without having to work for it, he stops feeling the need to invest. But when he doesn't always know what you're thinking, when you keep a part of yourself just slightly out of reach, it sparks something in his mind. He starts wondering, and that wondering leads to longing. But here's where many women go wrong. They think that triggering a man's emotions means manipulating him. That's not what this is about. This is about understanding the psychology of desire and being aware of how your presence impacts him. It's about creating a connection that's real, one that taps into his emotions on a level that goes beyond just physical attraction. So, how do you put this into action? Start by paying attention. What excites him? What makes him proud? What are the moments when his energy shifts, when he seems truly alive? Those are the emotional spaces where he is most open and most connected to you. Engage with him in those spaces, and then at times pull back. Let him feel the difference when you're not there. Let him experience what it's like without that connection, without that admiration, without the unique energy you bring. And in that space, in that quiet absence, he will feel what he is missing. When a man experiences an emotional void in your absence, it's not just that he misses your company. He misses the way you made him feel. He misses the excitement, the challenge, the admiration, the comfort. And that's what keeps him coming back. Because men don't just want a woman, they want an experience. And when you become the kind of woman who understands his emotional triggers, who knows how to engage with him on a deeper level, your absence won't just be noticed, it will be felt. 8. Developing unshakable boundaries. Boundaries, they're one of the most misunderstood yet powerful aspects of attraction. A woman with unshakable boundaries doesn't just command respect, she demands it without saying a word. She's the kind of woman a man never takes for granted, because he knows that if he crosses the line, she won't hesitate to walk away. And when she does, he feels her absence like a sharp void he didn't expect. But let's be honest, how many times have you said yes when you really wanted to say no? How often have you tolerated behaviors that made you uncomfortable just to keep the peace? Have you ever ignored red flags because you feared losing him? If so, you're not alone. Many women believe that being accommodating, flexible, and endlessly forgiving will make a man appreciate them more. But in reality, it does the opposite. The more you overextend yourself, the less he values what you bring to the table. A man does not crave a woman who gives endlessly without conditions. He craves a woman whose attention and energy must be earned. And the only way to create that dynamic is by setting boundaries that are non-negotiable. So what does it mean to have unshakable boundaries? It means you know your worth and refuse to compromise it for anyone. It means recognizing when something is no longer serving you and walking away with confidence. It means you don't explain, justify, or beg for respect. You expect it. And that expectation alone separates you from every other woman he's ever met. Let's talk about one of the biggest mistakes women make in relationships: being too available. When you're always there, always accommodating, always making him the priority, you remove the sense of urgency. He knows you'll always be there, so he stops feeling the need to put in effort. But when a woman has strong boundaries, when she makes it clear that her time is valuable and that she won't drop everything for him, he starts to realize, she is not someone I can take lightly, and that realization changes the entire dynamic. A boundary could be as simple as not tolerating last-minute plans. If he only reaches out when it's convenient for him, instead of jumping at the opportunity, you calmly say, "I'd love to see you, but I need more notice. Let's plan something for another time." Just like that, you're teaching him that your time is a privilege, not a guarantee. Another important boundary is emotional respect. If he's inconsistent, plays mind games, or brings unnecessary drama into your life, a high-value woman does not argue, beg, or try to fix him. She simply steps back. She doesn't tolerate being treated as an afterthought because she knows she deserves more. The moment she stops accepting less, he feels the shift. He suddenly realizes that the effortless access he once had to her isn't so effortless anymore. But let's be real. Setting boundaries can feel uncomfortable, especially if you're used to putting others first. You might worry that he'll pull away or that you'll come across as too difficult. But here's the truth. The right man will respect you more for having boundaries. The wrong man will leave. Either way, you win. Because a woman who values herself is infinitely more attractive than one who bends and breaks just to keep a man's interest. And when a man knows that your presence is conditional on how he treats you, he never gets too comfortable. He never stops putting in effort. And if he does, he loses you. It's that simple. But boundaries aren't just about saying no. They're about choosing yourself over and over again. They're about making sure that your needs are met, that your energy is protected, and that your standards are upheld. And when a man sees that you love yourself enough to demand respect, he feels it. He feels your worth radiating from you. And when you're gone, he misses that energy, that certainty, that presence, everything that made him step up. This is Stoic love in its purest form, the ability to remain calm, centered, and completely in control of your own happiness, regardless of external factors. It's about choosing peace over chaos, self-respect over attachment, and strength over fear. And when you embody this, you don't have to make a man feel your absence. He will feel it, because women with unshakable boundaries are not easily replaced. So, if you're ready to step into your power and start choosing yourself first, then you're already on the path to becoming the kind of woman who is truly unforgettable. Like this video and drop a number 1 in the comments if you're ready to master the art of setting boundaries. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? This journey is only beginning, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. 9. Embracing subtle flirtation. Flirting isn't about being the loudest person in the room or constantly showering him with attention. The most powerful kind of flirtation is subtle, effortless, and leaves him wanting more. It's the kind that lingers in his mind long after you've walked away. The kind that makes him replay your conversations, wondering what you meant by that last playful comment. When done right, subtle flirtation makes a man crave your presence and feel your absence even more deeply. Many women think flirting is about obvious signals, excessive touching, bold compliments, or exaggerated laughter. But the truth is, the most seductive women don't give everything away all at once. They engage in a dance of intrigue using body language, tone, and just the right amount of teasing to spark curiosity. And when that curiosity isn't satisfied immediately, it creates a pull, a feeling of "I need to see her again." That right there is what makes you unforgettable. One of the simplest yet most effective flirting techniques is the power of eye contact. When you hold his gaze just a second longer than expected, it sends an unspoken message, a message that says, "I see you." I notice you. That tiny moment of connection stays with him. He starts wondering, was that just a coincidence, or was she trying to tell me something? And the more he wonders, the more he thinks about you. But eye contact alone isn't enough. You have to pair it with a knowing smile, a playful, slightly mischievous smile that suggests you know something he doesn't. A smile that hints at confidence, mystery, and a side of you that he wants to uncover. This isn't about grinning from ear to ear or trying too hard to look attractive. It's about letting your amusement, lightheartedness, and confidence show. When a woman looks at a man like she knows her worth, like she's in control of the game, it's electrifying. Another powerful flirting technique is the art of playful teasing. Men love a challenge, and nothing is more intriguing than a woman who isn't afraid to give them a little pushback. If he brags about something, challenge him. If he says something cocky, smirk and say, "Oh, really? We'll see about that." If he asks a predictable question, respond with something unexpected. The goal isn't to be difficult, it's to keep the conversation dynamic and engaging. When a man feels like he has to work a little to keep up with your wit, he sees you differently. He sees you as a woman who isn't easily impressed, someone he needs to earn. And once he feels like he has to earn your attention, he values it more. But subtle flirtation isn't just about words. It's also about physical cues that are barely noticeable but leave a lasting impact. A slight touch on his arm as you laugh, a casual brush of your fingers against his when handing him something, or a lean in when you're talking, just enough to create a moment of closeness before pulling back. These gestures don't scream for attention, but they leave an impression. They create an association. Your presence becomes something that feels warm, inviting, and just a little bit addictive. Then there's the element of mystery. One of the most common mistakes women make when flirting is revealing too much too soon. Attraction thrives in curiosity. If he asks about your weekend plans and instead of giving him a full itinerary, you say something like, "I've got a couple of exciting things planned. I'll tell you about it later," that one sentence does two things. It shows that you have a full, interesting life outside of him and plants a question in his mind. What are you doing? Who are you doing it with? Why won't you tell me? And just like that, he's thinking about you. But here's where most people go wrong. They think subtle flirtation is about playing games. It's not. It's about understanding how attraction works on a psychological level. Men are drawn to women who make them feel something, women who create an experience that is light, playful, intriguing, and leaves them wanting more. This is where Stoic love plays a role. The most captivating women aren't the ones desperately seeking attention. They're the ones who remain composed, confident, and in control of their emotions. They don't flirt out of neediness, hoping to gain validation. They flirt because they're already full of self-worth, and their presence alone is enough to draw people in. A woman who embodies stoicism in her interactions isn't overly reactive. She isn't desperate for a response, and she doesn't try to force attraction. She simply enjoys the moment. And that relaxed confidence is what makes her unforgettable. Now let's talk about what happens when you're not around. If you've mastered the art of subtle, unforgettable flirtation, then even in your absence, he will feel you. He'll remember the way you looked at him, the way your laughter lingered in the air, the way your presence made him feel alive. And the more he replays those moments in his mind, the more he'll crave another interaction. He'll start finding excuses to reach out, to see you, to chase that feeling again. Because men don't just miss women who are beautiful, they miss women who made them feel something different. Women who left an impression so effortlessly that even when they're not there, their energy is. And that, my love, is the power of subtle flirtation.